This idea from a famous trader in the early 1900s tells us Bitcoin's bull rally is just getting started. Could $150,000 Bitcoin be right around the corner? I think the answer is yes, and we'll discuss that in today's episode. The previous 4 weekends, Bitcoin saw nice rallies, leaving CME gaps down below the price action, with the previous gap being closed as soon as trading opened again the following Monday. Now, so far, Bitcoin has been moving sideways, but there is a strong possibility that we could see a nice rally in the next 24 hours. There's also a very real possibility that we see a shakeout before Bitcoin heads to the moon. We'll go over this short-term bearish idea so you can be prepared in the event this shakeout does happen. Ethereum is back at it again, up over 80% so far in 2021, and is quickly approaching a new all-time high. I posted this trade in the group, and we are sitting in some pretty decent profit right now. We'll go over some short-term and long-term targets for the number 2 cryptocurrency by market cap. Guys, I have a jam-packed episode for you today with some solid trade setups and targets for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So don't go anywhere. Make sure you stay until the end because you do not want to miss this.
No, you can't just print more money.
I saved the economy.
We're trillions of dollars in debt. The debt to GDP ratio is out of control. Who's going to pay for it?
Haha. Money printer go boom.
Self-destruct sequence activated. 3, 2, 1.
Is this your homework, Larry?
Ask him about the car, man.
Is this yours, Larry? Is this your homework, Larry?
Is that your car out front?
Is this your homework, Larry?
We know it's his fucking homework. Where's the fucking money, you little brat?
All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Johnny here. Let's get right on into the episode. But before we do, if you guys could please hit that like and subscribe. You know, I definitely appreciate the love. Don't forget to ding that bell to stay up to date on all the latest and the greatest. All right, so Livermore's speculative chart. I have to give a shout out to Crypto Hamster for posting this idea on Twitter, and it really is interesting to me. So if we look at this, this says, you know, there's an accumulation cylinder or a speculative funnel with a widening mouth. You get 0.7, and then you get a nice shoot up out of the funnel, breaking that overhead resistance to 0.8, and then more FOMO kicks in, pushes to 0.9, then 0.10, and when you get the peak, you usually get a bounce here between 11 and 12. So who was Jesse Livermore? Well, he's one of the greatest traders that few people actually know about. It says here on Investopedia that the enormity of his success becomes even more staggering when considering that he traded on his own, used his own funds, his own system, and not trading anyone else's capital in conjunction. Now, he was very adamant on timing the market. It goes in here saying that any trader knows that being right a little too early or a little too late can be as detrimental as simply being wrong. Timing is crucial in the financial markets, and nothing provides better timing than price itself. And this is incredibly true. If you've been trading in this market for a bit, you know, you've had those instances where your technical analysis was right on point, but entering and exiting your trades ended up in a loss. So let's go ahead and look back at this idea. So if we look, we do have a rising broadening wedge, which is, you know, statistically a bearish pattern, but sometimes depending on market conditions could really mean something else. So if we go ahead and look at this chart a bit more in detail, it does look like we are headed towards Livermore's famous speculation funnel. You know, it's a 7-point rising broadening wedge, and then when you get to 0.8, it is outside of the broadening wedge, broken to the bullish side, and then you get even more FOMO, more parabolic run to 0.9 to 0.10, which could be all the way up here at 153,957 $1,957. That may be a top, and we'll know if we do. We'll get a drop down, and then we'll sell the bounce, hopefully riding it all the way back to that $20,000 Bitcoin correction that we've been waiting for ever since we hit 30K. All right, let's take a look at some indicators and oscillators. If we have a look here at the daily RSI, it looked like we were starting to form some bearish divergence here, but it does appear to be heading towards being negated. So we do have higher highs. We were looking at a lower high in the RSI, but it has moved up. This is the volume weighted MACD. You can see here that we did get a bit of hidden bullish divergence with a lower low in the histogram and a higher low in the price. Could be playing out right now. We are headed again to the upside. We got the bullish cross on the stochastic yesterday, and Bitcoin does seem to be picking up some more momentum as we move further to the upside. Let's go ahead and zoom into the 4-hour and look at the 4-hour indicators and oscillators. A bit of hidden bullish divergence here on the RSI. Again, a higher low in price with a lower low in the oscillator here. Looking at the volume weighted MACD, a bit of a lower low here with a higher low in price. So there is some slight hidden bullish divergence there. If we do take a look at the stochastic, it does look like we may be headed for a bearish cross here in the short term. On the 4-hour, looking at the normal MACD, again, that hidden bullish divergence that has played out, and we did get a bearish cross here on the normal MACD as well. So, it's really hard to use indicators and oscillators, especially when they do not get a chance to cool down, but we are still keeping our eyes out for divergences, letting us know which way the price could go, because to be honest, we could get a shakeout here at any point in time. The whales could come in and send this price crashing down, making sure that they liquidate a ton of over leveraged longs in the process. But if you're looking to trade this price action, let's go ahead and talk about a trade setup here. So we are in this symmetrical triangle, which also could be a complex head and shoulders. So that's one thing that we are definitely paying attention to. Now, what we would see if price action does break below this trend line, due to the support here, we should get a bounce off of this support and a bearish retest confirmation of this lower trend line before heading lower, potentially giving us an escape in a long trade if we are open and we know the price action is headed lower. So one thing we are looking for is a breakout of this upper trend line. One thing I recommend here, even though it's not financial advice, but if you are looking to trade this would be a nice trade setup with a fairly decent risk reward ratio. Now, as I mentioned before, every single all-time high, every single new one, we've been seeing whales sell the all-time high, giving Bitcoin a bit of a correction every time it breaks a new all-time high. And these have not been just light corrections. These have been fairly significant, especially on the lower time frames. So this is the 15-minute chart. It's always a good idea to zoom in when you're looking to enter into a trade. But the overall target here for this trade, if we take a measured move here, so we go from the bottom of the triangle to the top, and then we place our arrow at the point of breakout, that would give us right around a close to a 10% move from the point of breakout. And if we have our stop loss at the point of entry down below this lower trend line, that gives us a risk reward ratio of 3.19. However, when price does break out and we move across this 618 extension, it would be a good idea to go ahead and move your stop loss into profit. That way, if the price does correct, you are not losing any money. So in the event that this does break bearish, you could be looking at a short trade. Now, I personally do not short Bitcoin during bull markets. It's just too risky because the price could literally turn around at any second. And we've been seeing that as Bitcoin continues to break bearish patterns bullish. But if we do want to trade this, what you'll wait for is obviously a break to the downside across this lower trend line. We should get a bounce on this support here. And one aggressive entry that you could enter into would be the bearish confirmation or retest of this lower trend line. And the measured move just so happens to be right down here at $36,079, which, you're going to want to take profit a little bit before that. I do have a fib channel here that has shown some decent significance in the previous price action yesterday. So we could be looking at a bounce here and then, another retest of this upper support before before heading further to the downside. All right, so this is the trade that I did share with the group yesterday. Again, we're looking at the breakout of this symmetrical triangle to the bullish side, at which point we should break across this 0.5 fib extension, and then we'll look to enter on the retest of this symmetrical triangle right around the $41,000 level, putting our stop loss down below the lower trend line of this triangle, and then looking for a take profit right at $44,977, right at the measured move of this symmetrical triangle. Again, you know, this is fairly high risk, but if we do get a volume confirmed breakout, then we know that we are in a pretty solid trade. Let's take a look around the cryptocurrency market and see if we can find some more bullish confluence. Looking at the total crypto market cap, it does appear to be continuing to head further to the upside. This is a possible head and shoulders that I did call out in the trading group yesterday, but it did not break to the downside. But the possibility of it doing so still exists. However, it did just put in a new high here. Well, not a new high, but a higher high. And this could be getting ready to head further to the upside. Again, you know, repeating what we've seen out of the past 4 or 5 weekends out of cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, Ethereum, rallies when CME trading is closed. So let's go ahead and look at some other things that will give us an idea of where Bitcoin may be headed in the short term. Looking at the DXY did get a bit of a bounce here and does appear to be continuing its move to the upside. Now, this is the 4-hour chart, and we are looking for, it did break across the 21 and 50 4-hour EMA, and we're looking for a move up here to the 200, which is right at 90%. But we are seeing a decoupling of the Bitcoin price and the DXY because we've been watching Bitcoin rise in price as the DXY gets this bounce. So what we are looking for here, if we zoom out to the daily, on the daily, we did come up on the DXY and test this 21 daily EMA, but it does appear to have been rejected, which could be a great sign for Bitcoin and Ethereum and cryptocurrencies as a whole. What would, you know, put a little bit of warning and give us a bit of bearish sentiment in Bitcoin right now would be a break above this 21 daily EMA. That would mean that the DXY is likely headed higher. And then if it does break across this line right here, right about 91% on the index, then we are possibly looking for much more further upside out of the DXY, which in turn is bearish for Bitcoin. If we have a look at the S&P 500, it is also putting in new all-time highs right along with Bitcoin, but this is mostly due to the hyperinflation of the US dollar. It is out of this rising wedge, letting us know that the the S&P 500 is likely headed to more all-time highs this week. So the S&P 500 is looking rather bullish, but if we go to the weekly chart, again, I've mentioned this many times in previous videos, we do have this bearish divergence here that has not really, well, it might have played out in this correction here, but this is a pretty significant bearish divergence. And, you know, looking at it like this, it doesn't appear to have yet played out. And if the RSI is not able to make a new high here, then we will have another bearish divergence, letting us know that we are in store for a pretty significant correction in the S&P 500. Again, the total crypto market cap does look rather bullish. It did break out of this double bottom, triple bottom structure here. You got 1, 2, 3, even it could be a does appear almost like an M pattern, you know, because we've been seeing those. Those are typically an indicator of bearish price action, but, you know, we are at the 1414 fib extension, and it did appear to break across there again. So we could be looking at further upside out of the total crypto market cap, sitting up over $1 trillion. Pretty incredible, guys. Looking at Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin market cap dominance is a great indicator letting us know when we should be in or out of altcoins. And what we have here, this is, you know, this is looking pretty bearish as far as dominance goes. This could be a regular head and shoulders, but we did get a double bottom here and it moved to the upside, but it has corrected since. So as long as it maintains support on this 204-hour EMA, then we could expect expect further continuation to the upside out of Bitcoin dominance, letting us know that it might not be a good time to be in altcoins. But if this does continue to the downside, we will be looking at some potential altcoin positions to see if we can increase our Bitcoin holdings. USDT market cap dominance continues to fall while Ethereum dominance continues to rise. So we did see a nice move out of Ethereum earlier today, and that's what we're going to go over right now. So let's go ahead and bring up the Ethereum chart. I did share a trade with the group in yesterday's call, so we went over this trade here. We did enter right here on the aggressive buy at $1,185, and the price went up, and we did meet our first target and our second target here. Let's actually go to the chart and see just exactly what I'm talking about. So this is the Ethereum 1 hour chart. Again, I'm mega bullish on Ethereum through 2021, and I'm really looking at Ethereum just kicking some ass, especially through the month of January. So we came up here, we met our first target right here, about 6.97%. We 10x that, so we were just under 70% profit. We did get the rebuy right here at, what is this price that I have here? We got the rebuy or re-enter at 1,243, and then we came up and barely met our target right here at the 786 fib extension, about a 5% move. Again, we are at 10x, that's another 50% addition, and we do have a buy order sitting right here at 1,271, looking for a further push to the upside, possibly looking at new all-time highs out of Ethereum. So this was our trade, and so far so good. We have been fairly successful. I did put in a new high, but we did not see the massive sell-off by by bears that we've or by whales. But we did not see the massive sell-off that we've been seeing out of Bitcoin every time we reach new all-time highs. So I'm really looking at Ethereum to continue its push to the upside here, and Bitcoin is moving to the upside as well at the time of recording this episode. But this is where we're at with Ethereum. Now, if Ethereum breaks this $1,361 target, we could be looking at much further upside there, because after Ethereum breaks the all-time high, it will be in price discovery mode, and it's just a ton of space out there. So if we go ahead and take a fib extension tool, so we go from the low of this structure, and say we do make it up to the 1-to-1 fib extension right at $1,360, we'll go there, and then we'll bring our next low. We'll say it comes down and gets support on the 618. That will let us know that price action is going to continue to the upside. If price action does fall below this 0.5 fib here, or this 0.5 extension, that could mean that the price is headed lower to the downside. So right here, we're looking for our target. If we do pick up this rebuy right here, we could maybe be looking at a 1-to-1 extension, taking us all the way up to $1,622, effectively giving us a brand new high for Ethereum. All right. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for dropping in. I appreciate and love each and every one of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to stick around until the end if you're interested in learning how to trade, or if you're interested in just joining our trading group. There's some information right after this episode. But with all that said, thank you all so much. I'll see you tomorrow.